Melvin,
Wow, yeah.
Melvin,
Yes, yes, that's my name.
you should let Maria in the note-taking competition.
No, you shouldn't, because then she's
No,
just
I
gonna
can't.
win. She's gonna win.
Dude, look, Shri, listen.
Why don't you
Don't
just do a
mind.
teacher? Why don't you just do a teacher section and a student section? Easy.
But then,
Yeah, true.
in the teacher section, Maria's just gonna kill everyone else. Like the rest of us, it's pretty much just giving a prize to Maria.
Yeah, he's not wrong. But guys, it's on you. I can teach you everything I know. It's okay. You can win for me. How's that sound? It's fine. He doesn't have to let me into the competition. It's all good. I'm not sad.
Now Maria has the power, Melvin.
Oh, but
Oh, no,
I can
he
still
can
take
take
it
it
back,
back.
Alina.
He can take it back.
Come on, Alina. Who do you think I am?
Melvin just left.
I'm sure he has plenty to do. So this is the last lesson before the holidays, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome.
Jenny, what am I saying? Maria,
Yeah.
is today like an important session?
No, I'm just gonna be, well, look, every session with me is important, but I am just gonna be going through the things that I saw in mocks and then giving you guys some time to ask me questions at the end and a little bit of persuasive.
Yep. Thanks.
No problem.
Maria.
Yep.
You know this is being recorded live on YouTube.
Oh, I do now. Oh, whoops. Thanks for letting me know.
Are we on a break?
Very patient. You guys are on a break. I think I'll be starting at 6:06. Yeah, you have an extended break today, so I'll start at 6.
Yeah, extended break.
I found a video on YouTube.
You found what?
I found a live video on YouTube.
Oh, cool. And abnormally on break, but oh well.
Maria,
Yeah.
did you just go somewhere?
I just finished a tuition, so I came home and now I get to tutor you. Yeah, so I got home from tuition. I'm teaching, go away.
Cream, cream, I love the cream. Was that your mom, Maria?
No, I have an annoying little brother.
What year is he in?
He is in year 11, so he's not that little. All right, and it's 6. We can start. It was a very, very awkward 10 minutes, but we're here. He did say 6 that we're starting, right? Yeah, because it was longer than necessary. Okay, cool. All right. Well, as you can see from my very, very, very detailed lesson objectives, we're going to be going through a couple of things that I saw in the mock exams. I want to talk about using a prompt as a metaphor, the lack of figurative language, syntax, and the amount of tell and not show that I saw. Okay. If anybody wants to go through anything else that they wanted to ask in terms of mocks or what they struggled with when they got their results back, etc., I'm happy to go through that in the question time. And then I want us to, before that, go through some persuasive introductions together, see how that goes. Okay. All right. So when it comes to making the prompt into a metaphor, I wanted to know what you guys thought would be the best strategy. Because when I was in year 5 and year 6, making the prompt into the metaphor for me came from relaying the prompt to what I understood in terms of my own experiences. If I hadn't experienced something that I could relate to the prompt, it was very difficult to make it into a metaphor. As far as I am concerned, I know that your prompt from mocks was a tree with roots, a trunk, and like the greenery up the top that said success. If I am mistaken or if I'm missing something, please let me know. And when I thought about that, I instantly thought that the first thing everyone was going to write about was going to be academic success in general, because that might be one of your experiences with success. And I would like to ask if anybody wrote about something that had to do with success that wasn't related to academics. If anybody wants to stick their hand up and tell me about it. Aaron.
I wrote about like an animal.
Yeah, what was your, and how did you make the prompt a metaphor when you wrote about an animal?
Like, I didn't like kind of like the ant was struggling to it was like struggling. It wanted to go up a hill or something. I think it was a hill. Yeah, it was a hill.
Okay, so you took success, but you took the top part of the tree, success, and you used that as your metaphor?
Yeah.
So do you think that you kind of struggled to fit in the trunk and the roots?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So we're going to go through those two parts today as well, because we can't necessarily disregard any part of the image when it comes to making it a metaphor. You should be using the whole image as a metaphor and not just particular parts. And that's okay, because I also, when I looked at the prompt that you guys had to do, I struggled with it. Coming up with ideas on the spot was a little bit difficult. The first thing I thought of was there were two things, because there are two aspects of success that I've experienced. And this is going to sound quite sad: academic success and sports success. They were the first two ideas I had, and they were quite boring because my experiences with success are so limited. And it really took me a while, a good 5 minutes, to think of ideas to do with success that wouldn't just fit my experiences, but maybe be a little bit more creative. Okay. So I like that you wrote about an animal, Aaron. I think that there are a bunch of techniques that would have been fantastic, and I'd love to see your story one day. That'd be great. But in terms of the trunk and the roots, this is what we need to go through. So the 3 tips that I have for making the prompt a metaphor, and you can add to this as well if anybody has any other tips, because I think we're going to put this into next semester's compiled booklet of GATE things. Yeah. So 1, you want to associate your experiences to the metaphor, okay? To the prompt, and see whether you can break down the metaphor in terms of that, okay? And I will go into detail so you're not like, oh, what's that mean? Secondly, you want to break down the image. And third, you want to know what a metaphor is. Is there anybody who is absolutely still confused about what a metaphor is? No?
Maria,
Yeah, question.
is this like a metaphor that like, is this a good metaphor? Like, so somebody's running and then they're not running, their heart is pounding as fast as if a cheetah is running to its maximum speed, like something like that.
If you manage to put that into a proper sentence, there are a couple things missing from that, then yeah, it could turn out to be a good one. But moving into like complex, I guess, metaphors, that would be quite a basic metaphor because it's very understandable. Complex metaphors, you would take things like an emotion and you would try to, make that into a metaphor. Tanya, you have your hand up. Do you have a question?
So I understand a metaphor, but I
Uh-huh.
just get like confused how to make a metaphor, like how to put it in a story.
Right, how to put it into a story. So I can go through that as well today if you'd like. So, all right, Hansa, question.
Confused with similes and metaphors.
What's the difference between a simile and a metaphor?
Yes.
Okay, so a simile uses like to compare two things, and it can at times use as to compare two things. And a metaphor is when we compare things by saying one thing is another thing. Okay, I hope that answered your question. Alina, question.
I know how to make like simple metaphors, but how do you make like complex metaphors?
All right, well, complex metaphors actually come from maintaining the metaphor the whole way through the story, which is when you use your prompt as a metaphor in the story the entire way through, that's when you would have an extended metaphor and a complex metaphor. Okay, so we'll go through a couple of examples together and I'll get your input on it. But the best way to learn about like writing extended metaphors and complex metaphors is to practice, like use your simple ones and figure out how you could extend your simple ones. Can you give me an example of a simple metaphor you might use?
Her heart was made of gold.
Okay, awesome. Do we have you ever heard of the again, this comes from mythology, like King Midas and everything he touched to gold? Yeah. So if you can figure out that story, maybe you can relay some of the information from that story throughout your creative writing and use aspects of that story in there. That would help you to extend that metaphor.
But can you give me an example of that?
Okay, so we know that if her heart was gold, that means she's a good person, right?
Yeah.
Then maybe something else you could say later on would be, and as she touched him, he felt himself turn to gold. And the audience would then have to understand that because she is such a good person, that the people around her also become good.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're good with that?
Yeah.
That's the first thing that came to mind with me, but that's because of, again, experience and experience with mythology. That's the only reason I came up with that one. But I guess that would be a good example in terms of the heart is gold. But if you were doing anything to do with like action, sorry, hold on. The best thing to do is to read like a lot. Again, mythology is fantastic. You have 1,000 little stories in there. All right, moving on, because I'd like to get to the prompt. This was your prompt, and I think it's missing a couple of things. So if anybody wants to pop in and tell me what the words on the roots were, otherwise I'm just going to leave them as X, Y, and Z.
There weren't any words on the roots.
I didn't get that.
Oh,
Could you try again?
There were no words on the root. Oh,
There
Tanya?
were words.
So the first one was hard work, then persistence, then late night rejections, sacrifices, discipline, criticism, failure, doubt, and risks.
Oh my gosh, that's fantastic. How do you remember all of those?
I have the book with me. It has the writing topic.
Thank you so much. Did I miss any? I think I missed one.
You missed persistence.
Sacrifices.
Oh,
Discipline
Yeah, discipline.
and
Criticism.
all right. Happy? Anything else I need to add?
No.
All right, fantastic. So this was your prompt. Yes, it is a mediocre drawing at best, but what we need to do to make it into a metaphor is to understand how each part of the tree works, okay? We know that the roots are the foundations, right? The roots are foundations to any tree, flower, life form, etc. Then you have the trunk. The trunk for me was symbolic of growth, yeah? And the product is your greenery, which is the nice bushy part at the top. Is there any other way I could interpret that instead of foundation, growth, and product?
Yeah.
If someone said yes, can they stick their hand up? Because I actually can't see who it was. Oh, Elena.
Like the roots are like what makes the product. So you can see all what the product, but you don't see the foundation.
Okay. So what do you mean by you don't see the foundation? Oh, so you're
don't
saying
see-
that it's
Like you don't see what makes the product.
Mhm.
So you don't understand how hard someone worked to make like the product.
Uh-huh. Okay. I like that. That's good. All right, a beer.
My idea is that like all the roots make like the tree. So like hard work, criticism, sacrifices, persistence, they make success. Like hard work makes success.
Okay, awesome. And Abia, what did you end up writing about? No?
I ended up writing about
You kind of cut off, so I'll come back to you in a second. Shriv?
So like I didn't like use it as like a tree. Like I use it like the rain. So every drop of water that makes a cloud equals success. So every drop of water like equals every word, and then the all the drops make success to me.
So what you're saying to me is that you used another metaphor and related it to this metaphor, to this image, sorry.
Yeah, I related it to this image.
That's fantastic. So every word equals success?
Like every drop equals every word, and all the drops equal one big cloud, which equals success.
Okay, great. And what did you write about? What was your story?
I ended up writing about like someone who's quite smart, but he thought he was too smart, but then so he didn't need to study, but then his level went down, and then a gate test was nearby, so then he had to keep practicing.
So it was academic success then, yeah?
Yeah, academics.
Awesome. Okay, cool. So, oh, sorry, something dropped from my table. Anyways, I like all the well, I had 3 ideas. If anybody else wants to stick their hand up, they're more than welcome to. None of those ideas are wrong. No idea is better than the other. Okay. Alina, going back to yours, I actually didn't think of it like that. That would be quite interesting, because when I heard that idea, I was instantly thinking of someone who might have been getting interviewed after they've like, you know, they're in a CEO position and they're being interviewed.
My story was kind of like the success roots and stuff.
Oh, okay. The one you just told me about though, the when you have the roots equal the product, but no one really knows what the roots are, like you don't really see it. That
That
was
was-
very interesting.
That was basically my whole story. Like, it was about this woman, and she was very smart, and she became a lawyer, and she married a wealthy man, and the wealthy man was very popular. But people only called her like the wealthy man's name. They never saw her for what she became. They only liked her because of the man's wealth and stuff.
Wow. Okay, that's really cool. And I love that. That's a very cool way of looking at it. The way, like when you said that, I was thinking of like a CEO who's being interviewed and being asked very superficial questions. And in that time, he's reflecting on all the things he's had to do to get to where he is or to get to where she is. So the point I am trying to make here is that you see these ideas, like you don't see what went into making the product. That's the idea you build your story on. Okay, you try to relate it to other things. Did anyone write any other stories that weren't to do with academic success? And Aaron, I know you did one on animals, so don't worry, I got you there. Anybody else? Yep, sure.
Like about a Lena story. On reading comprehension, it was like there was this thing about, I forgot what it was, but then there was this like girl who studied quite well. He married a wealthy man, but then they only knew her because of the wealthy man, but not the
Virginia Woolf?
Yeah.
Was it the Virginia Woolf one?
I think it's a Virginia Woolf. No,
Yeah,
that's a different one.
Oh, okay. Which reading comprehension? The one from Mox or the one from?
It's not one from Mock. It's one from the 2003 booklet.
I
think.
Okay, no, I can't think of it. Anyways, so my whole point here is please do not write about academic success when you see the word success. Try to think beyond that and relate it to like smaller successes as well. It doesn't have to be like this whole big process to becoming like, you know, having like a little bit of money and suddenly you work hard and now you're rich. It doesn't have to be cliches like that, okay? Think beyond that, think to smaller successes in life, okay? Because everything you need to have hard work in and persistence, and there will be failure and doubt. So think of smaller ideas. And I guess why I'm also saying that is because I'd like to see how you guys would remain within one event as well, because I am a one event writer, if anybody wrote like that. Alina, I would love to see your story. I think that sounds so interesting. I'd love to read that. Tanya, question?
What is academic success?
Academic success is when you do well in like your school studies or you do well in a test, like you get an A.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. Does anybody have any other suggestions for how we might break this prompt down and use it as a metaphor? No? Okay, moving on. All right. So this image is a depiction of human nature, which means that they are trying to say something about the way humans behave. Okay? So it is a human nature based image. How might I break this image down and use it as a metaphor in a story? Shri.
Nature doesn't help you when you don't care for it.
Why, if you don't care for it? What gives you the impression that the person doesn't care for it?
Like trees being cut down, maybe like deforestation, that leads to global warming, and then that's a problem for all of us.
That's good, but the thing is the tree isn't being cut down. He's mowing the lawn.
Yeah.
So if he's mowing the lawn, do you think that it could still be counted as deforestation?
No.
Okay. Tanya, do you have a question, or is it your hand's just up by accident? All right, Hiresh.
I think the man's mowing the lawn and gas is coming out of the engine and it's making pollution, and it's making a tornado of gas.
So
And
we
it's
have
just-
a pollution one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. So Shri, you were very close. How I would break this image down is I would have, oh my goodness, hold on. The tornado would be one thing. The fence would be another thing. All right, you got to give it a sec. My iPad is not cooperating today. And the person would be the third thing. And this is how I'd break down the metaphor. I'd have to include 3 aspects, okay?
Okay.
So
Thank-
the first thing, right? Like Shri said, it would be the issue. So in his case, it is deforestation. All right. The next thing is a very flimsy fence. Okay. The flimsy fence is protecting the human from the tornado. Protecting. Notice my air quotation marks. I'm being as sarcastic as possible. So, what might stop the issue from impacting the person? Think of something. Shri, this was your idea. What do you think in your narrative you would kind of relate the flimsy fence to?
Maybe that's kind of protecting him, and I think he should change to a electric lawnmower instead of a gas one.
Okay, not getting it completely. All right, so I'm going to show you an example of what I would do. I think I would write a story about someone who is watching the news and sees a snippet of the migration crisis, okay, which is when we don't let people come into the country without a visa, okay? Anyways, so my image 1 would be the migration crisis. My flimsy fence, oh, don't know if anybody can see that, I apologize, would be the lack of publicity. It would be the lack of publicity these issues receive, okay? So if they don't want people to care about it, they're not likely going to advertise it, okay? So we have the migration as the tornado, which is because it's a crisis, we know that the fence isn't going to hold that tornado back from the guy, right? The tornado is going to blow through that thing, which means the crisis is still going to affect the person, all right? And number 3 is the person has his back to the crisis and he's just continuing on with his task, which is a pretty regular everyday task, right? Doesn't look like he's too concerned. He's got his sunnies on, his back turned, and he's mowing the lawn. So basically, he's being ignorant to the issue. And that flimsy fence is not going to protect him from anything. It's still going to impact him, all right? Is anybody confused by the way I broke that down and attached aspects to it? You can stick your hand up for that one. Alina, question?
I was thinking like before the strongest fence, the fence was really strong. So maybe nature gives you the problem, but you have to think of the solution, which includes nature.
That's fantastic. I really like that one. Okay, so we have one where the fence is flimsy and the issue is still going to impact him. We have one where nature gives you the problem, but you have to think of the solution. We have pollution and we have nature won't help you if you don't care about it. Does anybody else have any other ideas for how we would make this prompt a metaphor in a narrative? Advik.
You could do like the man is like a president and the tornado is like problems coming at him and like his secretaries and like other people are trying to defend him and that's the fence. So he's like ignoring the problems of the people and like he's like a really bad president.
Ooh, that's a really good one. So you're saying that that's the president, that's the issue,
Yeah.
and this is like his policymakers, the secretaries.
Like all his associates and stuff.
Oh, that's really good. You get it. You get how to break down the metaphor. I'm not concerned about that. Someone asked what ignorant means. So ignorant just means like you're being I don't want to use another big word in the sentence. So ignorant just basically means when you're ignoring, like kind of like,
Avoid the problem.
yeah, in a way, but you don't have the knowledge to deal with it. So you lack the knowledge to deal with that issue. You're being ignorant to it. Okay. All right. So we have a bunch of ideas, and I'm very happy with that. One more, and then I think I'll be happy. But what I wanted to let you guys know, and I know it's your holidays, and that's fantastic. And you must be at a point where you're like, I need a break. But if any of you want to practice over the holidays, please take a screenshot of any of the prompts we're doing today, and you're more than welcome to email it to me, and I will give you a very comprehensive feedback on it if you can get it to me by the second week of the holidays, if you want feedback on it. My holidays is just going to be marking, so it's not going to be an issue. But I'd really like to make sure everyone is nailing making the prompt into a metaphor. So if you want to practice it, take a screenshot of any of that stuff, and we'll get to it. Okay, so just remember, when we break down the metaphor, biggest tip, take aspects of it. So take aspects of it and then use it. To the person who said that they have a speech to do, no stress, you don't have to do it. I'm assuming this is like your faction captain speech. Anyways.
Yeah, boy.
So the next one is just the rope. This was my gate prompt. Yep, that's no problem, Alina. Don't stress about that. You can definitely send me that. Okay, so same thing. I want to know how you guys would use this image as a metaphor. I'll give it to you at the end, don't worry. Haresh.
This prompt can be like, there are two friends and their friendship is separating because one of another friend is moving out to a different town.
Okay. So what's holding them together then? How did you break down the image? So what is this? What is this? And what is this?
Those two are like the people, and the middle part's like the middle part, number 3, is like the friendship they're losing hope. The friendship is losing hope. The third part of the thing.
So the only thing keeping the friendship together is hope?
Yeah.
All right, fantastic. Okay.
I think I have another one.
You have another one? Okay, give it to me.
I can refer to as like a tug of war.
So yeah, but how would we use the prompt as a metaphor then if it's tug of war? Because that would be quite literal, right?
Yeah. So that won't work. Would it?
Yeah, so I want to think of something like figurative, something that goes beyond the literal. All right, Haresh, you can take a sec to think about it. Vic, how would you make that into a metaphor?
So for 1 and 2, I kind of like put them together. So it's like a man, okay? He's like really rich, and his father's really rich, and like because he's like his son, he's rich as well. So his father dies, okay, and he has to take on the role of leading his business, okay, and he's like he can't do it, and like every string of the rope is falling off, and that's all his problems. And he has to try like it's his last rope, and he has to try figure it out and try to do his job because he doesn't really understand what he's doing because he's just got placed there because his dad died and
Yeah.
and so he's facing all these problems and all the business is falling down, all the strings are going and he's falling apart. So he's having problems.
That's fantastic. I actually think that's a great idea. I would love to see a story about that.
Maria.
That's give me 2 seconds. Very quickly, it's very close to my idea in terms of a man falling apart. And I think that's a very mature idea to write about. It's very realistic as well to have all that pressure on you and then just suddenly start to lose the plot a little bit. I get that. And one of the things on your marking key is being realistic. So that's a very good idea, Advik. Well done. It was close to my idea. My idea was actually a man who was going insane, like he was about to lose the plot. Mine's a little bit more dark and I guess not as mature themed as that. My story was about a man who takes a bank and the people inside the bank is hostage, and he gets caught, and because he has all those hostages in there, he has no idea what to do. He knows he's not going to get out of there alive, and he's walking up and down. He's going through the what is and reflecting on his life and the decisions that have got him there, and little bit by little bit he's starting to lose the plot, and he's waving the gun around, etc. That was my idea. It's not as mature as yours, Advik, but well done. Okay, moving on. Alphonse P.
So I was gonna write about when so there's two, so it was the bonds of your growth tree. I mean your genes and stuff like that, your family tree, I would say. And it's that's all your family tree. And it's so there's two, so there will be two people, one person that's a newborn, but while another person that's a really old man. And in the newer days, people starting to forget where they came from, and they're they don't really care about culture and background and race that much. And so slowly by slowly, that culture in him and that background and race that he has is breaking apart from him.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And it's two ropes breaking apart.
So what's holding it together? Is there anything holding it together, or do you feel like it's eventually going to snap?
I feel like the older person that was from the other age is might help him, or if he doesn't, he might just break apart.
Okay, I really like that as well. Thank you. That's fantastic. Wow. All your ideas are way more mature than the ideas I'm coming up with. Here I am, a guy takes a bank hostage. None of my ideas are very mature. So thank you guys for sharing that with me. Shri, question, or do you have an idea for the metaphor, or using the prompt as a metaphor?
I have an idea. So there are two parents and one child, but then the parents divorce, and the child still keeps them together in the middle. So the child has to try and bring them back together.
Oh, so the child brings them back together, or the child keeps them together?
The child keeps them together for now, but then he tries to bring them back together.
Ah, okay. Awesome. Yes, all your ideas are far more mature than mine are. Can't believe I was ever worried. Okay, so any final ideas or anything anybody wants to add to this prompt? Alina.
My idea is basically about this girl, and her mom, and she's the only child, right? And her mom's gonna give birth to a baby boy, and slowly by little, all her family turn against her and go with the little baby boy when he was born. And the only thing that's holding the family together is the grandma, because the grandma treats the boy and the girl equally.
Ooh, I like that. Do you is that like where do you get these ideas?
I read a lot of books.
Oh, thank you. That's a fantastic answer. Okay. Alphonse, I'm not sure if you have a question or if it's an accident, but you're more than welcome to ask it now. The rest of the lesson will be questions based on whatever you guys want to talk about. I was only going to spend half an hour on the stuff. If anybody has any other questions. Hiresh?
Sorry, that was from before.
Oh, that's okay.
Maria, for the
Yep.
role, are you gonna do any like persuasive techniques or something, like anything, or is it just questions?
If you guys don't have a lot of questions, I will go through some techniques. But if you do have questions on any of the concepts this semester that you want to go through, whether it's personifying a setting, extended metaphors, empathy, sympathetic responses, etc., then I will go through that. But if not, I will continue on with the lesson from last week, which was to do with persuasive. Okay. Hiresh, you had a question?
For the rope pulling prompt, I think it's how to stop your emotions. Like your emotions, the right of the rope is how to stop your emotions, and your emotions are breaking apart.
Okay, so the whole rope would be the emotions.
Yeah.
And it's hard to hold your emotions together.
Yeah.
So what would be keeping that last thread there?
A person, one of your friend is helping you. And the other people are making fun of you, and your emotions are getting apart, and you're feeling sad and angry, like that.
All right, I like that. I'd like to see a story about that, really. See, I hear so many good ideas, but I never get to see the stories after you guys tell me the ideas. And this is like something I've seen in all the lessons. Palak?
About like what we were writing about a mock exam, what would you have read?
Oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't hear you. Could you speak a little bit louder, please?
You know, talking about what we are writing in the mock exam, what would you have wrote for the topic?
For the topic, like I said, when I saw it, I would have either gone towards academic success or sporting success. I probably would have tried to relay it to a personal success. But if I was being as creative as possible, like I said, I was a genre writer. I might write about like a runner from the mob. I know that sounds terrible, but well, not terrible. I think it's quite interesting. A runner from the mob is like an individual who does all the grunt work, like the really small stuff. Like he does all the backhanded deals, anything the big boss wants, he goes and gets it done. It's very illegal. You don't want to be a runner in the mob, but I would have written about a runner in the mob and how he worked his way up to being the big boss or being someone of significance within the mafia family. Because that is the genre that I would enjoy writing in, and I would try to relate it like that. Again, my ideas aren't as mature as your ideas, but that's what I would have written about. And if you want a very realistic idea in that sense, Palak, because you have to hit that mark as well, I might have written about a sporting success in terms of maybe being in the middle of year 12 exams and also being a top of state athlete and aiming for the Olympics. That's very stressful. I would have written about that. I hope that answers your question. Okay, Abia.
My idea of the rope picture is like the whole rope is like a whole tight rope of like hope. And like someone has like a
and that person with the whole tightrope of hope is like a really positive person, but like one day they have like a really like depressing problem that almost breaks the whole like the whole rope of hope. But the like people they know, and like their cousins, family, friends are like still helping them how much they can, and like that's like the little piece of rope in the middle. That's
All right, I like that. Okay. Nice. Okay. So the whole rope then would be hope.
yes.
Okay. Great. Alina, question.
I had another idea. It was basically about this man. He works at this hot dog stand, and his dream is to own his own hot dog stand. And one day he saw homeless people, and he was carrying like wasted hot dogs, and he gave them to the homeless people. But the boss came and fired him on the spot because he said, "I don't work to feed homeless people." And someone filmed this, and it like went viral, and he got lots of money for it, and he got his own hot dog stand.
Wow. Okay. Nice. I like that. That's a good
Maria?
I'm
one.
not sure if it's very realistic though.
Yep. And remember, if you have a question, stick your. You know what? I do think it's very realistic because I'm pretty sure you can see things like that happening on Instagram. So, well done, Alina. That is realistic. Haresh, question.
I know that story too that Alina said. I've heard of that too. There's like this YouTuber called Dollman. I think that's where Alina got the thing from.
Oh, okay, awesome. So yeah, guys, remember, it is absolutely fine to be inspired from anything.
Yeah,
Like,
if you watch a lot of movies, textbooks, you can get a lot of ideas to make your prompt with it.
yeah, no, that's a good idea. In fact, one of the best ways that I used to absorb information, especially in terms of like being realistic within my genre, because again, writing in my genre was always easier for me. I would watch movies, just a bunch of movies, and it was enjoyable, it was fun, and it didn't take as long as reading a book. Okay. And yes, you should always read a lot, but if you don't have the time, binge as many movies off Netflix as you can. Okay. Bea, is your hand up on purpose or is it an accident?
Yeah, I have a question. So like to improve our vocabulary, do you like recommend us to improve our vocabulary like by reading biographies or maybe? I don't know.
Oh, no, not a biography. I think, like I said last week, mythology is the best way to go with learning particular, like older kind of vocab, like bigger words. I always find like the adjectives that they use in mythology are very interesting. But even then, any kind of fantasy book as well kind of covers it. I wouldn't read a biography, but that doesn't mean you should discount it altogether. Do you have like particular books that you're reading right now to improve your vocab?
Yeah, I read this book about a Jewish survivor in Germany.
Yeah, okay, so like is it a historical fiction or is it like based on a real life event? What's going on with that?
A real life event.
Awesome. Good. Yeah, no, those are fine. In fact, after last week, I went back to books that I thought would be good because I wanted to recommend more for you guys. Aragon, I'm reading that one again because, well, I wanted to find vocabulary for you guys that you could use in your creative writing. Very good set of books if you're looking for like fantastic adjectives. The Aragon set, amazing. But yeah, as long as you're reading, that should be all good. I was supposed to get you guys a vocabulary list if anybody was in last week's session, but the problem was I don't actually have vocab lists specific to your age group yet, so that's why I've started reading again so I can write you a couple. It'll probably be ready by next semester. I'm not gonna lie. It's gonna take me the holidays to compile at least 20 to 30 words that you should be using.
Maria,
Yes.
are Percy Jackson good like for this age?
Oh yes, 100%. Any book by good old Rick is the best way to go. I think he's fantastic at what he does, and the sentence structure in there, I would recommend him in terms of improving syntax as well. He has a lot of variety when it comes to his sentence types.
I just started this this week and I found it very interesting. And I found a lot of words.
Good. Yes, right. He's great. If you want to improve your syntax, Percy Jackson, because Rick Riordan uses a variety of sentences and his word order is a good one to replicate. I found he's quite concise. He gets to the point quite quickly and he picks and chooses where to describe. Whereas me, and that's what I particularly need to work on, being more concise in particular sentences. I tend to go on and on and on and describe and describe and describe. And sometimes that's a bad thing. All right. Anyways, guys, I've left it on the Syntax 2.0 page because what I found was that a lot of you were, well, not a lot of you, but there were a lot of pronouns being used at the beginning of every sentence. I, he, etc. Please stop doing that. Find a different way to write the sentence. I've given you some examples of the different kind of sentences we can use in our paragraphs. Okay, and there are 2 examples down the bottom. But if you remember a couple of lessons ago, which is why there are only 2 examples, not a couple of lessons ago, like maybe half a term ago, right at the beginning, I went through ways to spice up your creative writing. And there was an entire section on syntax there. If you guys want to read through that again, that would really help. Biggest recommendation right now. Also, that is pretty much it for the lesson today. I know we're ending earlier than usual, but I've pretty much covered everything that I needed to cover with you guys, and I do want to take the time to go through questions on the semester because it is the last lesson. So if anybody has any other questions, English related, stick your hand up. I'll help you through it. Abia, do you have a question? No?
Wait, I do. Sorry.
Okay. No, that's all right.
Do you have like any good topics to write about, like persuasive topics or maybe narrative or maybe?
Oh, you muted yourself halfway through what you were saying.
So like, can you like maybe recommend us like a topics we should write about maybe in narrative genre, in narrative section or persuasive section?
Yes, I can. So I do this thing with my with like the kids that I already have, where I call it's like daily exercises, and I'll give them 1-word questions. Prompts really. So if I hope people have screenshotted this because I'm about to move down very quickly. For the person who asked when we're going to be learning about informative text, that's all going to be covered next semester. Okay, so
Like that.
oh, someone's singing. That's so sweet.
Maria, what does SARED mean?
Oh, wow. That's just my terrible writing. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's okay. I'm trying to think of more. Give me 2 seconds. You're looking for word prompts, right? Because it'd be quite difficult for me to give you image prompts right now.
Dog.
Maria, I think that's enough. I don't think you have to think. Oh,
Maria,
Yes. Question. If you guys want more, I will write them down at the end, or well, whenever the questions are done. But
can you
that's pretty
can
much
you
it.
can you put quotes on? Quotes.
Quotes. Pinterest. Go to Pinterest, because if I have to write down quotes, I'm gonna have to think of them myself right now. I'm gonna have to make them up, and I would need you to give me a topic to do that. And also, if you want quotes, I wrote down a bunch in the Gate session book. Hold on.
Can I screenshot that?
Yep, if you give me 2 seconds. Whoa, okay, hold on. Oh my gosh, sorry. It's gonna take a while because I don't actually remember where I put them. There you go, Haresh. All right, Advik, question.
With the right picture, how would you make like a persuasive text out of that? If like say it was a gate test and I would do a persuasive from a picture, picture prompt. What would I like do if I was doing persuasive?
Actually, I'd write, like, if you go back to the remember the one on human nature, the guy mowing the lawn? You know that one, right? Yeah. So remember what I said about relating an issue to it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can write a persuasive text or a persuasive text on a particular issue based on that, an issue that's about to impact humanity and why we should care about it.
Yeah, okay.
Does that make sense? I think I could probably run like a 15-minute part on that next semester, because that's an interesting question, but it is more to do with persuasive and I would need to go through the technical aspects with you. But the very quick and simple is that relate an issue to a part of the image and then discuss it.
Yeah.
No problem. Be a question.
please, can you both go back to the prompts? And I have a question with one of them.
Yep. Haresh, can you take a screenshot if you're writing this down? I'm about to scroll all the way down again. All
I
right.
already took a screenshot
Wait, you took a screenshot?
like 2 minutes ago.
Oh, okay.
I was on
Fantastic.
mute. I didn't hear you.
I thought you were, no, that's okay. I thought you were writing it down. Someone had a question about something to do with the prompts that I wrote down.
Yeah, that's me. That's me, Abia.
Be a question about the prompt.
So about the last prompt that you wrote, what is a Polaroid or whatever?
Oh, a Polaroid. A Polaroid is just like a cute little picture that looks like that, and you have a person in it. It's just a small little picture. Actually, I have one here. It looks like this. It's just a small picture. Yeah.
Wait, what does it mean by I Polaroid on the train line?
Huh? I found a Polaroid on the train.
Oh, wait, what does it mean by like what is it? Wait, how are you supposed to make a story?
Well, I mean, that's up to you, right? How would you incorporate that prompt into a story? Would your story be about a person who found a Polaroid on the train? Would you use that prompt as a sentence in a story? Because I didn't give you any parameters on any of these prompts, so honestly, you can use it in any way that you want to. I personally would find it very interesting if you wrote about a story about someone finding a Polaroid on a train, because one thing you have to remember, Polaroids before they were made into a bit of an aesthetic with like the younger generations, they were also a way for like the older generations to like keep pictures in their wallets. Like a lot of Polaroids are from like way back when. So you imagine if an old person lost the last picture she has of her husband on the train, and then you have to track her down and find it, and then she tells you the story of her husband who passed away in the war, etc. I find that would be like a kind of story that I'd want to read anyways, if that answers your question, Alina. Okay, final questions, because we're pretty much done and we've been done for quite a while. So Abir, no?
No. Also, thank you for the prompt.
No, no problem. That's okay. I'm going to write down a couple more, but if everybody's good, you're more than welcome to go. Please enjoy your holidays, and it has been a pleasure teaching you all.
Bye. Happy holidays.
Bye.
Happy holidays.
Happy
Bye.
holidays.
Maria,
Yeah.
can you give us like realistic prompts?
Well, honestly, you can have any prompt. It's up to you to make a realistic story out of those prompts.
Okay. Because I saw my friends are an alien.
Yeah.
So
Do we know the connotations of alien though? Well,
no.
alien just means foreigner.
Oh.
Yeah,
Thanks.
so the prompt or any prompt can be made realistic because of the writer, not necessarily the prompt, okay?
Okay.
All right. Okay, guys, that's it. I hope you've screenshotted everything you've needed to screenshot. I'm gonna end the session now. Bye-bye.
Bye, Ramin. Bye,
Bye.
bye, Mia. Thank you for teaching us this semester.
It's all good. It's been a pleasure.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Happy holidays.